Professor Nandkishore Singh ji, are you there? Then we have another co-panelist, Professor Sam Gurao from Ahmedabad University. So please be on the stage, sir. Yeah. So I request Professor Dr. Kameshwar Rao to join the panel discussion since other professors are not there. So Dr. Kameshwar Rao, he is the Assistant Director in ATIRA, Ahmedabad. Also, I invite Mr. Vasant Uchil. He is a coating expert from Mumbai. He is a renowned face of Indian composite industry. So let us begin the session. The stage is yours, sir.
Dignitaries on the dais and my colleagues, welcome to this session. Dr. Singh has graciously given me this opportunity to take us through an important topic for today. And definitely nothing new for the Indian history. Composites is something that we have been using since ancient times. We had straw strengthening mud for our houses way back. So it's not something that we have to just talk of composites as a new advanced material today. It has been there for times. It is there for today's era, and it is evolving. The challenge that has been put up to this panel today is to deliberate upon how we can ramp it up to meet the growing demand, not just from a material perspective, but a material that may be able to help solve some of the burning issues in the industry. So, well, we know it's widely used across sectors: automotive, appliances, infrastructure, aero. The issues that I feel that this panel will try to look upon and try to debate upon, and that's where I will invite my learned colleagues and seniors to share their insights from the various experiences that they have, is something on the lines of the dependency. These dependent loops are creating hurdles for both adoption of composites and implementation of composites. And some of the 4-5 key issues that I feel the panel should touch upon today. Looking at the reluctance of the industry to adopt composites, somewhere the availability of material to fulfill that demand. The reluctance also stems from many other parameters. Somewhere the quality of the solutions available in the industry. Availability itself stems from the availability of the material per se and its supply chain. And while these are predominantly internal parameters to the industry, there are also geopolitical aspects which drive the overall adoption and implementation. So I will like to touch upon this with my panel members and maybe we touch upon each of these issues independently, assess what each of our members have experienced in those domains, their views, and how we can mitigate these aspects going forward to help the industry bring in the academia where it can help collaborate with the industry to mitigate these issues, and try to move India forward as a composite strong a solution provider rather than just a supplier. So these are some of my views. Of course, the panel members are entitled to share their views. What I'll do is I'll just pass on the beacon debating to each of my senior colleagues, and let's explore each issue, whether it is an issue in the first place, and if so, what are their experiences in helping mitigate these aspects. So this is from my side. What I'll just take up is I'll just pass on one issue for discussion. We can probably take a very personal view and just run through the experiences, find out the mitigation points. So let's, in my opinion, we have a reluctance in the industry to, although there is some sort of expertise capabilities available, what I feel is there is still a hesitancy in the industry to adopt composites. And I would like to invite my colleague to share his views on this particular.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, for inviting me on the dais. And based on your discussion from yesterday, we have seen the projected growth of the composite industries, right? That is there. But if we see about the real growth, there is a vast difference between the actual growth of the composite industries and the projected growth. That is because of the various factors. We all know that particular factors. We don't wanted to go in detail. But one of the issue is the hesitant to accommodate the automation in the manufacturing side. So that is there. And there are certain myths involved when we are talking about the acceptance of the automation, specifically when we are talking about the composite. And one of the myth is the cost part. Definitely industries will focus on the cost. So definitely investment cost is there. But that we can achieve, we can get it back within 5 years or 6 years. There are case studies which clearly shows that investment cost can be get back by the industries by carefully implementing and planning the scaling up. That is possible. Second thing is right tech instead of the high tech. Okay. Right now we are talking about the global competitiveness. So definitely technologies are there in the world level. So we don't have to focus always on the high tech. When we are talking about the India specific needs. So yesterday we have seen the data related to the aerospace industry. So around 50,000 of planes are being made in the next 5-10 years. But when we are talking about the Indian industries, so if we see the data, then around 350,000 kind of four-wheelers are being sold every month. And when we are talking about the two-wheeler data, then around 15 lakhs of two-wheelers are being sold every year. So we can definitely implement technologies, for example, high pressure technologies for specifically catering the Indian needs. And when we are talking about the MSMEs, so definitely that can cater the appetite of the Indian industries. And government is also promoting funding also. For example, SIDMI is there. They are ready to fund this type of ventures. That is there. And second thing is, right now we all are fragmented, honestly speaking. Industries are focusing on the silos or the autoclaves. Academia are busy in publishing papers. That is there. And in government is talking about the policies creations. So we are fragmented. We have to come together. We have to create the ecosystem, and we have to educate the common people also. 2 days back only, I have seen one video of the common man taking the photographs and the video and posting in the social media that one of the government is what we can say, the one construction of bridge is going on and they have used the GFRP rebars. And he's taking the video and saying that, see, people are using the plastic rebars instead of TMT bars. So that type of dissemination of the composite should be there for the common people so that they can accept this particular change, so that the demand will be higher.
Definitely.
So that is my point.
Very valid point. Awareness of what we are doing is something that is definitely needed to be able to convey the message that the right material is being used at the right process. And as you rightly said, plastics or just a FRP has been given a bad name without knowing its engineering strengths. In fact, even the previous speaker, Dr. Sharma, talked about the various orientation and its performance of the materials, and which are tuned to that particular application. And the growth of epoxy and GFRP rebars is something that India is definitely seeing in the recent year. And yes, they are equivalent or better to TMT bars in certain aspects. They have certain installation challenges which need to be overcome by a different approach. So all these definitely can overcome the first aspect of reluctance of adoption. I'll build on this and challenge Archal now about how we can balance this cost aspect is one part which was mentioned. The precision of parts required, like Archal, I know you are dealing primarily for bespoke, custom-built aspects, which are high-cost items. How can we bridge this balance of cost, precision, the engineering know-how and innovation needed, and overcome this first hurdle of adoption as a complete package and present it to the industry?
Thank you. Very nice question, indeed. Because at this moment, when we speak on this topic, India remains poised. Growth in composites. As I go around the world, in last few years, couple of years, it is not that we have the competence, but the acknowledgement of world that okay, there is some set of technology, some set of difference that is coming out from India is getting more and more vocal, more and more recognized. Especially a huge amount of approach should go to ISRO, because the way they are actually painting a very different and very unknown image of India to the world is now visible. But as we do this, there are two types. See, composites is a tech segment. And for any tech segment, it caters to multiple products or industry segments. So when we talk about ISRO or HL, where it is a batch production at the max or a small scale production, a line automation would never become a sense. And hence, for them to bring in repeatability, to bring in precision, they might be able to automate a set of processes, but between them, they'll have to still depend on much higher competence level. And it will build cost and one has to absorb that cost. Yes, if there is a disruptive technology like additive manufacturing that comes on in future, it might cut down cost by cutting down time, which is the major case of space. But then composites, like we mentioned, has started to come out in a lot of human use segments like automotive, infrastructure. Now, this is where people are looking. When I say people, globally, India has been looked upon. Will we really be a right alternative to the China? Why? Are we technologically inferior? I guess no. The major challenge is, will we be able to spurn out the numbers in the quality and in the price that our neighbors are giving? If we have to answer this, it has to be kind and it has to be in such a way that we need to then automate at the industrial scale. Let's just look at what they have done. They have just industriously automated a lot of their processes. So yes, it is there is need for such segments. But like you mentioned, is cost an issue? cost is issue when I do not have volume. If I have volume, fair, no problem. Let's put in some machines. So it's a chicken and egg story. Will I get the orders first or will I automate first? How did China break this conundrum of having orders first or the finance first? I think it was the government of China that stepped in. So, like you rightly mentioned, we need a central body, probably representation now, because the way composites is growing as a field, people like Dr. Singh are much more needed to start representing us at much larger overarching level, probably even at government level. And this is only SMEs. Again, SMEs, if they develop, they will become the sustainable future, because a big company would be actually deep-rooted in what they are doing, and SMEs actually transient this technology to each and every hemisphere. If I am building a rocket, and if I have an opportunity to build a bicycle bike, I'll try and do that because I need that money right now. But a big industry might say, it's a low order, I don't want to get into this. So SMEs will make sustainable business, but they might not be individually able to represent themselves to the government. And hence, Reliance, Dr. Archal Shah, ISRO, this had to lead the flags of our composites fraternity to government and bridge this gap, I guess.
Very nicely summarized, Archal. Yeah, definitely a takeaway from both the first discussions. We have silos of expertise. Somewhere we need to bring in a consolidation in terms of the thrust from the government or the industry aspect. But at the same time, put in a consolidated face forward to address the main topic that we are discussing here today is the scale up. By individually claiming we have a machine to do a process, it's not going to collectively give the India advantage of pushing forward a scale up or a ramp up to the expected 37-38% growth that StratView showed yesterday, from a 400 KT to a 550 KT projected by 2030. Now, to ramp that up, we definitely need a consolidated thrust. And thanks to both my colleagues today who have shared those aspects and how we can, yes, at the industry level, at the government level, come together and put a single face forward to take not fragments of expertise, but a cumulative, yes, we can do as an answer. Let's see, I'll just park Archal's geopolitical discussion for a while because, yes, that is definitely influencing this matter. It is important. Let's come back to some more internal aspects and take Dr. Desai's views on from ISRO's perspective. You have driven structural and thermal programs, taking it beyond to space and satellite. How do you see these aspects of both availability as well as the confidence in the quality, which can help bridge this particular topic?
Good afternoon. It's an important factor right now. Reason being, as you're all aware, the government of India has now opened up space sector for the private industries. As of date, we have almost 120 private industries who have started their work in space segment. So, being a very premier research institute, we have been using composites for our structural needs, for our thermal since I think 90. The technology has not proliferated as well. We are the consumers, we are the developers. Main bottleneck which I see here is the availability of raw material, carbon fiber for that matter. We do not have any manufacturer of carbon fiber within the country. We are import dependent.
Correct.
Aramid fiber, there is no. So if we should bring in those manufacturing technologies, then only we can be truly Atmanirbhar. So that context has to be seen. Second context which I would like to again put is space does not provide you, but it definitely provides you a challenge. Challenge in terms of design. And once you meet those challenges, the takeaways can be easily scaled to other industries. There have been instances, Teflon for that was developed for space. And now you see everywhere Teflon is. You have all the automotive. So that's a spin-off of what was developed for space. Similarly, rather than looking at profits or rather than looking at the balance sheets for space industry specifically, if you can focus on the technology aspect, I think the technology spin-offs are going to be huge. So those are my points. And as a space industry also, we are developing newer uses of composites. It's not that, we have stopped at say 30% or 35% utilization of composites. Day in, day out, the proliferation of composites in our designs is also increasing. For example, earlier, the launch vehicle had fairing, fairing protects the satellite during the atmospheric phase. Was made up of aluminum. Now it has been completely converted into two advantages. First and foremost is the light. That is payload. For every 1 kg which we launch globally, the cost is around $25,000 for 1 kg saving. So that's a huge saving. So every and any private industry who wants to launch their components would definitely like to go to composites as a solution. The launch adapters which were earlier or titanium are being modified into composites. The tanks for storing liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen, as well as earth storable, those are being converted into composites. Primarily increasing the launch capability.
True.
We are not increasing the capability of say thrust of the engine. We try to offset it by reducing the structural. Similar is the case in case of satellite. And nowadays, Elon Musk has disrupted the space technology.
With reusable.
Reusability. So similar cases has come in ISRO also. We are also designing our launch vehicle. More important is we are making smaller satellites. Rather than going for satellites which are 3,000 tons, 4,000 tons, a government can afford to make, because the challenge or the should I say risk which government can take private industry, they're all scaling down their satellites. If they're scaling down their satellites, then again composites will be there for them as a risk. A lot of opportunities, but yes, the only point which I would like again is not, or at least space sector. Think about volume, think about the challenges they provide, so that can be scaled together.
Very nicely said. Definitely. Space and defense have been the pinnacles of technology which percolate down to the aeroplanes or the automotive industry, and then subsequently percolate to the other sectors. So we have seen softwares percolating from defense and aero grade requirements for engineering analysis in the automotive and appliance sectors. We've seen the best example of Teflon, which is now in day-to-day cooking pans, or even the wheels of the various equipment that we use. So everything touches to our daily lives, and niche products do scale up to common activities and day-to-day uses. So yes, that is a different perspective of how these kind of developments would help scale up the composites arena.
One more point which I thought, sorry to. In the simulation domain, now people are talking about digitizing. So digital twin
Yes,
in terms of composites also needs to come in.
definitely.
Reason being, it's primarily a process-driven industry. The better you incorporate the process into digital simulation, the first time right designs provide you the cost offset.
Very rightly said. So let's switch gears from the industry and I will bring it to an academia focus. And my question here will be to how academia can help bridge the R&D to business commercialization aspect of use of composites and implementation of composites in this growing sector.
Academia certainly has its role. Actually, I mean, if you look at the Western way of driving things, they have very well proven the collaboration between academia, industry, government. That has been very well proven. And these days, we are seeing those things in India as well. Government is coming up with encouraging schemes where actually they're encouraging industry to get in touch with academia with their problems. Because academia generally looks at 10 years down the line when fundamental research, generally they look at fundamental research, generally they look at more scientific research, whereas industry is actually today's aspects. They need something which increases their volumes today or tomorrow, maybe 1 or 2 years. But this needs to be reached. That's the reason what government is saying is, okay, industry has to look forward, but for looking forward, industry does not have resources. All their resources are to take care of today's or 1 or 2 years stuff. I mean, they also carry out applied research, which takes care of something like 5 years down the line. But now what government proposes, okay, you have resources in the form of academia, you have resources in the form of research labs. Either you set up your own research lab in academic institution, or you borrow the academic institution, or you go and set up your own academic institution. There are multiple aspects now. So in this way, we are seeing industry in India is coming up with their own institutional campuses. Birla is an example, Tata is an example, and Reliance and Adani are recent examples that's happening. Now, more importantly, the collaboration. So, I mean, I should appreciate both industry and government, where they're actually encouraging academia to get into the applied research. Rather, they're asking academia towards applied research, while also focusing on fundamental research, because applied research always looks at 5 years down the line, which is really bridging the industry's expectation and the fundamental research. So in that way, academia is actually changing itself, like the way industry is changing itself by reaching out to academia. Now, academia is also looking the startups. They're encouraging their own students and faculties to get into startups. IITs are example, NITs are example, and many more institutions are today they're coming up with research parks. So the way industry is backward integrating into academia, now academia is forward integrating. Why should I think about something which will become a product after 10 years? Let me start up now. Let me incubate a startup. So in this way, things have already started. Only thing, we actually have to connect these things to a demand-driven economy. So we always have to expect government to keep course correcting its own policies. Of course, sometimes volumes are important, sometimes research is important, sometimes services are important, but we always have to look at interconnection. For example, services like IT, government has identified at right time and they have created IT hubs.
Right.
In the same way, technology hubs are getting created. In the same way, the collaboration hubs have to be created, where people can actually look at the more comprehensive way. They can look at things more comprehensive way, where industry does not need to look to create a product which gets commercialized tomorrow.
Right.
In the same way, academia need not to stick to its own ways of 10 years or 5 years down the line. They can actually join their hands to come up with more collaborative hubs. Then I guess things can be speeded.
Definitely agree with you on this. And the association of institutes like the Ahmedabad University, who has collaborated for the MTech course. These are the right ways for industry academia to push things forward. And applied research versus fundamental research is definitely going to change the response of the industry and help address today's problems sooner, thereby bringing in a confidence that these things can be done today and help speed up the transition of the kind of volume scale that we are seeing from the market research. I've reserved my best question for Uchil sir. Archal touched upon the geopolitical aspects of the transition of volume. And we see definitely a big influx of high volume, low cost, and possibly deferred quality of materials coming in due to geopolitical reasons. So how does India maintain its presence, maintain its trajectory of growth, at the same time restrict the kind of influx and ensure its own stand in this kind of a growth segment?
See, in India, there are 1,832 models. Out of that, almost 1,650 are MSME owner-driven companies. The corporates like Tata's, Reliance, Birla, and Adani's, and Brahma and other companies have come in now. So they are at a different level. And when we were in Europe, you see, they want a collaboration with Indian companies, mainly because of pollution issues in Europe. Not because they are very keen to shift, they are forced to shift. So there is a big opportunity for all of us to take this chance. And India being a tropical country, dust is an issue in our processing.
True.
So which is not addressed at all. Maybe air-conditioned plants are, maybe you can count on your fingers.
True.
So how to overcome that? That is one thing. And when the product is made, it is not posture. Actually, tanks, pipes are put outside in the yard, and the solar energy is not used. Sun is the source of posture.
UV curing is done automatically.
Big companies to go for solar energy heaters in the company.
Right.
So, if you see latest what I see, defense and aerospace is expanding in a quick way, and there are enough funds for all technocrats get into this business. Where the margin is good, but technology is high, and quality has to be of the highest order. Whereas other products, like in infrastructure, I am sorry to say this, the rebar industry, which has started in a big way. I introduced rebar in 2015 and got some good orders from National Highway Authority. And there was only ASTM that time. Now Indian standards have come, and you'll be amazed. There are 14 companies who have put plants for making rebar without knowing that design of rebar in infrastructure projects.
True, sir.
Many people have been asking, have made columns using rebar, which is wrong. It is good for a slab.
It's good for the flexure aspects.
Yeah, or a receiving stations, anti-magnetic.
Definitely. sir.
So opportunity is there, but then people are taking advantage or disadvantage.
Definitely, sir. Thank you for your views on that. It's a short time. I'm constrained by Dr. Singh. Otherwise, this healthy discussion can stretch through the entire day. The panelists definitely shared and their experience and views, and we saw a spectrum of how India can scale up in composites. We had some inputs from yesterday's panel, which talk about the learning and development aspects needed to, and this is also linked with today's topic. In addition to the industry growth, there is a need for the right skilled academia growth, which will supplement not just the design or bespoke aspects of the particular product development, but also the on-site manufacturing aspects, the on-site installation aspects of these materials, which are definitely advanced in their sense of use, their sense of contribution to the design, the load part designs, and many other aspects. Some topics we covered yesterday and today talk about how specifically these materials can help the application, the solution in a different manner. So we talked about niche bespoke designs. We talk about the applications to aerospace, satellites, the growth of these solutions, constraints to be in place, like Uchil sir mentioned about the right standards to be followed so that there's no plastic going into the FRP rebars. It's an engineered FRP or a GFRP or a CFRP that is going into the rebars. So while there is a huge spectrum of materials available outside India, definitely this panel mentioned about the need for an India material availability and supply system, and the right material for the right choice of the solution is something that will ensure these materials are the right fit for that application. It is implemented properly in the right cost and the right process. And a cumulative package will be able to address the growth that is expected from both the industry and the academia together, and bring up India from its current 400 KT, again referring the Strat View data yesterday, and scale it up to the 550 KT and help grow further. So with this, I'll thank you all for your time. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, the panelists, for their views. And thank you, audience, for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Pathare and the learned panelists. So, some quick questions if you have got any questions. Yeah, please.
On a conference from Minister, technical textiles and composites is a sunrise sector for India. We should take the advantage. After 20 years, again, I have seen the same speech. So what is the reason of this gap to impart? Up to my knowledge and experience, if I divide 2 years, so what is happening? There is a lot of growth. But some specified person knows whose application is there, and some have no idea. And many people are working, not ignoring the research and development. Up to which standard they are getting the project and it is commercialized, they are following it. So this is the main reason. This yeah, we are looking weak in this. Growth is looking weak.
Years ago, we had seen less expectations of growth. So how that will be, and what where we are today, and how that will be.
To be very frank, the growth is going to be fantastic. There's a big opportunity for all these graduates to get into business in composites. And it is limitless. What applications we have today is hardly 20% of what the world is having. So 80% market is open for us, and technology is available, technologists are available, trainers are available. But tell me one example where any big company has asked a trainer to come and train the people. All the shop floor people are come up from the bottom, and he becomes a supervisor, manager after say 10, 15 years. But by the time he loses interest, and quality is a.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Sharma, you have got any question? Quick question.
One question is that seeing the technical textiles and textile composite with a single eye is not correct. Because the basic dimension, the terminology that has been made for them is totally different. Technical textile is an add-on to our product. But that textile composite is completely different domain. It cannot be put with the technical textile directly. So saying that the technical textile is not correct.
Okay, so that is your big one.
So definitely, a technical textile will become part, a subset of the whole composite gamut. And you also rightly shared in your presentation, fibers, the fabric, the plies, the interface, the connectivity, the resin, all put together are the composite industry. So definitely yes, and there will be a slight relevance of the overall composite industry growth with the growth of the technical textiles. It may not be a direct linear.
Is there any role of policymakers who are implementing this growth of composite material? Because when we are attending the conference, mostly researcher, industry people, academicians are there, but there is the missing of policymakers. So how they are implementing this growth? Because ultimately, what are the powers and money are with the policymakers? Can you highlight?
Yes, like Mr. Archal has already explained that we need to unite, take the things together and approach to the government.
They will probably look upon us when we are considerable in size. Otherwise, they have a lot of other businesses also to take care of. I mean,
is there a problem? Is whenever yesterday we have seen that example of reinforcement of bridge. So when policymakers don't know, we have to use. Can we use the composite for the reinforcement? Because we have seen the example of Kameshwar Bridge in Ahmedabad. It was within 7 years it have destroyed. So policymakers don't know that how we can reinforce the bridge using this composite. So they will not accept your solution that you can use that. But he has a knowledge of that composite. He can take that opportunity or the solution.
So definitely such platforms are the key to bring such policy makers, bring it together and yes.
Policymakers and administrators.
Please love that.
Yeah, policymakers and administrators per se, it is the role of the industry and academia to highlight the issues towards the policy. Only then the policies would be made. Just now that why the space sector was open to the private industry, because we felt that ISRO was. See, India per se was contributing only 2% of the global economy in space sector. And ISRO per se is not poised to scale to that level. So only the industry can scale it. Government agencies cannot scale it because we are there for some very niche segment. for very niche requirements. Industry can create requirement and it can also support the requirement. That is the reason why by 2035 it is predicted that we will be having 10% of the global economy in space segment. So that decision by the policy makers to open the space sector has basically given more than 110 space startups. Similar things will definitely come, but advisories definitely need to be there for them that they can take timely actions.
So taking things other than space, but there is a huge demand, like in government sector as well for the composite, and also the policymakers should understand what MSMEs or the medium enterprise, they should be supported the way.
That I was, as an industry, we should also be very much conscious about the quality which we are doing. Yes.
That is a basic thing, very basic thing. Yeah, the very basic thing. Without quality you are supplying, so you are not justifying to yourself. You are making a...
And that they cannot compromise on the quality.
Yeah, definitely.
There will be some addition to the cost, but I think that cost will be offset by the life cycle.
So in the sprint of getting numbers, I think we should not forget this is not under and bread industry. And we will have to sprint with quality at the baseline.
Yeah, definitely.
Consider yourself as supercars rather than street kids. Once you treat yourself as a supercar, you will definitely make that impact and you will definitely create, what should I say, go for yourself.
So, I should conclude that apart from this conference, everyone should have some time understanding, interacting with each other, and bring some ideas, put in the social media, LinkedIn profiles, Facebook. So we can have a group like Dr. Kameshwar said that we should be forming various platforms. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Sir, I'm having one.
No, we are becoming very, because the other speakers, they are getting very much delayed. We have taken too much time in the tea break. So, like, maybe we can discuss the thing when lunch time.
Because in many of lectures, at last, we are not conducting these question answer session. That's why.
Yeah, please be quick.
So in case of these rebars, that GFRP rebars we can use for construction. So in that, how we are catering percentage elongation, as well as in case of some fire, these resin will not be, means resin property will not be there. So will it collapse some structure and all? That is one question. And second question is, for high modulus carbon fiber, is there in India, there is some plan for manufacturing that high modulus carbon fiber in the India itself? There are two questions. Sir.
I'll answer that.
Yeah, please be quick.
For the second part of it, there are two companies who are planning to put up plants, yet not in the finalization stage, but one of the companies have tied up with an Italian company to put up a plant focused at carbon fiber manufacturing, and the other company is planning by its own. Also, NAL has a carbon fiber plant at a large scale. So it's now up to entrepreneurs in India, students in India to how take this dream of NAL, take the dream of Abdul Kalam forward. So, second, for the rebars, it's more on the clear, see when you say percentage elongation, it's been calculated, it's not made for percentage elongation. For the FR grade, you can put in additives. In fact, if you, on a personal note, if you have further questions on rebar, we can surely after the session take it offline and really answer that really well.
Thank you, Mr. Archal. So, I am very much delighted with the moderator and the panelists. I should have enjoyed at least half a day, almost 4 hours discussing to the panel, but time is the constant. We have got another distinguished guest to speak. So, thank you, Mr. Rahul and other distinguished panelists. Thanks for your contribution. So I request Mr. Vasant Uchil sir to come and facilitate. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
इनका टाइम विश्वास कराना पड़ेगा
So this is my promise that I will take this panel discussion on a webinar, SICA platform, and it will be available not only to these audience, but it's available to the, like anyone from India and the globe. And we can have a session, bigger session for at least 2 hours.